Good. Hey, how are you? Nancy.
Around the hospital. I had a phone calls in, and I didn't get to speak with Alan, but I spoke with one of his PR guys, and they sent me a copy of the statement that was released again and said they have not confirmed the church closing.
I heard today.
Oh, is it June 3rd? Well, when I spoke to the relations person, he said that there's nothing being confirmed as closing anything. There was nothing they could tell me. They said they've not told, they've released nothing on closing these. I think. The employees may be saying that, but they've not confirmed anything from ballots. This week's. It's just
6 o'clock.
They're saying about somebody.
Yeah, I think that's where all the issues are coming in. All the employees are talking and nobody's sure. They said it's not confirmed. I called and spoke to the.
If it's after 6, I'm gonna call to order the highway meeting.
I'm sorry.
Take roll.
Willie Campbell,
Here.
Nancy Brown here, Steve Burrow,
Here.
Gary Kemp,
Here.
Andrew Holdren here, Jason Clausen,
Here.
Jason Rasnick,
Here.
Kelly Collins. Here.
I get a motion to approval of the agenda.
Second.
All in favor? All opposed? Yeah. I get a motion for the approval of the previous month's minutes.
Motion to approve.
All in favor? We have any public comments for the highway meeting? Go ahead. You gotta state your name and your address.
Okay, Sam Cole.
You can come up here.
I only brought 3 copies. I didn't know how many I needed. I got a petition of 39 people living in Bullets Holler. The speed was increased from 35 to 45. Everybody that signed this, their first words out of their mouth was, why did they do that? We've already got a problem with speeders. And I didn't have an answer for them. And when I started the process of finding out, I ended up with this here. I've got 39 signatures on here. 35 is the safe speed in that holler. Nobody knows why they raised it. Nobody lives there that asked for it to be raised that we know of. We've got 23 turns and curves in that holler. And from Slagle Road down to the county line, it's 2.8 miles. Now, if it was raised for commuters, how much faster are they going to get through 2.8 miles with curves to get somewhere? I thought that was the 4-lane over there. You want to get to town fast, hit the 4-lane. Everybody had an opinion about why. This was originally to be taken to law enforcement. We haven't had a law enforcement officer in there in 20 years sitting somewhere to slow people down. And we all know if you know you're speeding and you see a cop car sitting somewhere, instant tap the brake. But we haven't had one, and that's our next step. We're going to go with whatever we have to. People are scared to death to get out of their driveway. We've got driveways on both sides of some of them sharp turns where they can't see no farther than over here in the corner. There's been so many near misses. When I told them about this, they grabbed a pen and wanted to sign. How many people do you know would put their name on something? People are hesitant sometimes about that. Not one person. And the best one that we got signing here was basically the last one, our mail carrier. She put down a pretty good paragraph, told it like it was. And it's a dangerous highway. Too dangerous to make it 45 because they're doing 55. There's a 10-mile-an-hour mentality that people have. If the speed limit on the interstate is 65, you're going to do 75 like everybody else. And that's still against the law. And people they're not race car drivers. They don't have the reaction or the discipline to control a vehicle going too fast. And when you do figure it out, it's too late. 2 people on this were older ladies. They were in their 80s. Their voice was, it's hard to get across the road to get to their mailbox. They stand there. They told me they listen because a lot of people, you have to put your windows down. And there's 2 things you want to hear, loud exhaust or noisy tires to know that something's coming down the road because you can't see around them bends. They start across the road. All of a sudden, the car that's doing 55 down the straightaway was on them instantly. They back off the road. Is it like your mom or your grandmom putting up with something like that? They told me, we can't run. If I was to try to run across the road, I'd fall down. Now, I believe that.
Have they noticed a difference since the speed limit's been changed, or has it always just been a racetrack?
The law's been broken from day one. It's 35 miles an hour. Now we've given them 45. They're going to do 55 whenever they can. It's bad. You have to live there to know it. Everybody had the same words out of their mouth about it. This has got to come to a stop. They're going too fast. We got one guy who I considered him to be a professional truck driver, dump truck driver. And where he sits, he wrote a paragraph about how fast the dump trucks are going, where loads are not covered. If it's past the sides down, it's not going to come off. The wind's not going to blow that dirt out or that shale. But he says some of them dump trucks are going so fast, it's like a racetrack for him. And he's right there in them bad turns. So we're asking on this second page here, in addition to our problem with speeding, we want the just recently changed increase to the speed back to our safer 35. And then we're going to take it from this point to law enforcement.
Have you had any calls on that, Barry, at your district?
We had one. I will say that seems like you need to talk to sheriff's department to slow them down to 45. That's the first step I would take.
There's only a couple of turns you can safely do at 45. Some of them other ones, you better slow down to 30. We all see them coming down the road, sometimes on the wrong side because they're going so fast. But 45 is too fast for the majority of that road. And what's the point of 10 over for a 2.8 mile road? What are they going to get out of it? You're going to try to make them turns at 45 now? It ain't going to work. Do you know the road I'm talking about, anybody?
I'm familiar with it.
Okay. Most people go to Ridgewood that way.
Yeah. I mean, is people noticing a difference, or are they still going to speed through there, even if it does go back to 35?
They didn't obey 35.
So the speeders
There's
are
a
going to
few.
speed, is what you're saying?
Huh?
The speeders are going to speed regardless. They're going to be.
Yeah, but now you've given them 45, so it makes it okay to do 50, 55. We all know that. You see a cop on the interstate with radar, you're not going to worry if you're 5 over. He's not going to touch you. And you're not going to maybe 10 over, you won't worry too much. I drove a truck for 15 years. I know about what they do, but now they're giving 18-wheelers tickets if they're 10 over. They're not letting them slide no more. And it's a big ticket. We don't have any enforcement down through there. And they show up after the fact. 45 is too fast for the road. It just gives them an opportunity to go faster, which compounds our problem. When next time you're down that road, see how fast you can take the turns at 45. You won't. And if you're giving them 45, for what reason? Faster time to get to work? I don't know. I don't know what it could be. I know the 4-lane comes out at the wrong end of the town for people. If they're cutting through us, they're getting in the center of town where McDonald's is. You know, if they got to come here, they're probably coming through the center of town.
It's a pass through. It is a pass through road.
It's shorter.
Come up the dollar store and then go down.
Yeah, you can shoot down there. But they're not gonna do that. They're gonna stay on the road. You've already had one accident. When you come up to, see, top where Slagle Road is, up at the top of the hill. Then you go down, you got Board of View Church on your left. Just down the road, there's a house up on the hill right up there. They got a nice concrete driveway. It looked like she came out of there, the person coming down the hill, and they come down that hill fast, because now it's 45. It just happened, might have been last week. It was a red car.
2 weeks ago.
Huh?
2 weeks ago, the driver's drunk 3 times over the limit.
Did he hit a car coming off that hill?
No,
No?
he lost control coming out of the curve, so he's 3 times over the legal limit. He's
Well,
drunk.
that'll make it.
That'll help every time.
Yeah, and you'll probably speed when you're drunk too.
Nobody stood up at public comments before that was voted in opposition.
I never heard about it until we saw the sign. Nobody in the holler was asked. We lived there. You wouldn't go over into another county and suggest something. I mean, we lived there. We had to put up with people.
He was,
I had several
You had
people
people-
come to me and ask for it.
change it back, cause in the other, how many years ago was it that it was 45? And
Under Leon,
Well,
first term of him,
so they lowered it for a reason then, I guess.
it was one person.
One person. Did we raise it because of one person this time?
No, we raised it because of several of my neighbors and several people in the store asked me to do that.
Did they live in a holler?
Yes. One of them works for the highway department.
I don't reckon I have their input on it, but this piece of paper. I think
It's
there's
come through where they live.
50 houses down through that holler, and I got, I can't count the postal delivery, but that gives us 38 signatures. I don't know. I did not go to some houses that had dogs. Big loose dogs. I wasn't going up there to get a signature. And I was already told there was one man, he's real paranoid, don't park in his driveway. And if when you knock on his door, you're going to see a barrel of a gun. I said, well, the way times are, I'm not going to go knock on his door either.
Thing to do.
But if I have to start at the top, I had about 3 houses never came to the door. And their cars were there. At least I thought their cars were there. And I can understand that too. They didn't know me. One good thing I found out about the neighbors. And every signature, I can tell you, every signature, I was at their house for 15 minutes listening to them about the speeding cars.
do you think you'd have got the same kind of response when it was 35 about the speeding cars?
We're going to still complain about that, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
We'll discuss it.
Only because we don't have law enforcement. We have never seen an officer in here. I've been home 20 years now. Came back and walked
Maybe
through.
we'll talk to, see if Mike Fraley can put some out there doing a little bit more patrols, maybe bring,
We're going to go to the sheriff with this and ask him, and maybe even the state police,
thank you.
because they can sit there. I have another question. 2 people asked about the signs they put up, slow hidden driveways. I think how do they go about that?
We don't do that.
You don't put, there's no more signs?
No, you don't, we don't put up no slow driveways.
Probably left up to the resident to do that.
No, it's slow hidden driveway.
We don't do that
The
either.
county don't do that's what he's saying.
Oh, it's private? Okay, I didn't know that. All right.
All right,
You'd be putting up a lot of signs if you did. All right, that's all I had to say.
all right, we'll discuss it.
I'm gonna wait. I just told them, the wheels of justice move slow, so I told them, good,
All right, thank you.
thank you.
Any other comments? Road superintendent's report, you got a few things to say?
You've got a list of roads, Commissioner Cable asked for some of the roads that would need paving. It's probably not forgotten the bucket. Walking plan, but he asked for it in the email, so we would hit it. Print them off, brought them down and give them to you tonight. Other than that, we've, we put the binder down over at Central Elementary, paving for the school, for the parking lot. We're gonna go back and put the surface on it tomorrow. Then we should move to do the Happy Valley track. That'll be next, to try to get the school stuff straightened out. Roger and I went to, up to the new tech building there in Hampton by the high school. Looked at that parking lot, just give it a price on squaring it out, blacktopping it here pretty soon. Other than that, that's about it. We did get a letter today, email from the state, want us just to verify that they would be, responsible for replacing the Spalding Bridge over Watauga. They would be responsible for, doing the, road closure and would take care of all the signs, the signage and the closure and maintain that. And they would give us a 14-day notice before the closure. But I don't know, that's all I had. Don't have any date when they want to start the closure. It just said they'd give us a 14-day notice, but they would be responsible for the closing the signs, maintaining all that. And that we've just been patching, doing some mowing, trying to stay busy.
All right,
Any questions?
thank you.
Well,
There's no new business right now. Do you have any commissioner comments?
I was gonna ask, how will you decide priority, or is this already on?
probably a lot of it depend on money wise. You know, asphalt right now is like 100, maybe 110 a ton. A ton don't go far. Trying to get, you know, more bang for your buck, I guess you'd say. To figure which roads you've got enough money to pave instead of just paving half a road, you know, run out of money, get a half here and yonder. Really, like I said, he wanted a list of something need to be paved. I just kind of joked, told Roger, just give him a road list book. Give everybody a book, because every one of them could use something, you know. But as far as where we'd start, really. The first one, I think it's Poggy Road. That's going to be our state aid, and several of them on there will be state aid projects that the state pays so much on. So I'd say that probably the first one he's got wrote down there will be probably first as far as our main road, because it's a state aid. We saved our state aid from last year, state aid this year, put together enough to be able to do it. That's a lot of money. Like I said, it'd be state aid, so.
It's in bad shape. It's in real bad shape.
Been a long time since we've, I've been since we paved it, really.
Yeah, I'd say about 25.
Pretty wild.
I wasn't driving. 43.
I've got 30, I mean, we paved it. I just don't know how long we did that 25. There's a lot more. I mean, like I said, that's not a drop in the bucket. Needs attention. That's just something we kind of hit here and yonder. We can think off the top of our head right quick.
I didn't know if you had like a little guideline to worst.
No, not really. Trying to look at them, I guess, just out of that, just pick the worst. Might get some attention on some of them. Better than, quicker than others.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else? Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Well, I want to miles per hour for next meeting.
Okay, we'll call the landfill committee meeting to order. And we'll, nobody's come or gone, so we'll use the same road as previous. And I'll ask for an approval of last month's meeting, April 3rd.
I'll make a motion.
We do the agenda first.
Read it,
Approve the agenda.
but that's what I just said.
You said last month.
Said last month.
Approval of the agenda last month.
We need to do approval of this
That's-
agenda.
that's-
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, we're approving it this month, last month's meeting.
I'll make a motion.
Approve the agenda for this month, and you do that, and then you're gonna approve the minutes for last month.
Correct.
You got to do two different motions right there.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. My fault.
I'll second on the agenda.
Okay, so the agenda's been approved. Now, we have to
Vote.
Vote on it.
All in favor?
Favor. Just all in favor.
Yeah, all in favor, all opposed? Well, now we'll do the approval of the minutes for last month, on April 3rd.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, all opposed? And then on March the 17th, before our regular landfill committee, we had a special call meeting. So I'll ask for approval for it.
I'll make a motion.
Second,
I'll second.
all in favor,
Aye.
all opposed? Is there any public comments for the landfill? Okay, move right along. We don't have any old business. New business, during our special call meeting, we talked about where Benny was out and we approved an interim director, but we didn't approve any salary increase. We need to address that tonight.
We do. I mean, we can't ask him, in my opinion, we can't ask him to work doing director's position at his regular pay. We talked about it in the special meeting, we just didn't make a motion for it.
I agree. We'll do director work and director pay.
We had Carolyn go and look and see if we had enough money for it. She felt like we did, if I remember correctly, and I've listened to the meeting twice, that she said we did, she just wasn't sure if we had overtime, and that's why we made the motion to take $5,000 from fund balance, landfill's fund balance, in case the overtime got too high or whatever. Because one of the ladies in the office is going on maternity leave. So,
Yeah, we approved that, but we didn't talk about
right,
his increase.
An increase.
That's director level, is that what we're talking?
that was discussed.
I think it was around 3,300 for the next 2 months, 30 somewhere.
We didn't come to any decision.
What was the difference, Gary?
Off the top of my head, I do not know.
I'm not sure what your name, what is your name? Stephen. What is the difference? Are you aware?
I have no idea, to be honest with you, what Kenny's salary is.
Does anybody know?
Kenny's isn't it 57,
No, it's at
54? That's what they voted on.
all the directors make around 54.
That's 2 months.
I got your budget right here.
That's 4,500 a month. You know what you're currently making a month?
Around,
How much is it, you got
What was your
it?
annual salary, Stephen? I asked you that.
it's around 30, around 32, 33.
His is almost 33, he thinks, annual.
Danny's got the budget.
I got the budget. You want the number?
Yeah, please.
54,395 will be supervisor for landfill. Or excuse me, that is the recycling center, sorry. Okay,
But
54,394.85.
Okay, comes out to 4533 a month. And then, and you say you're around 33 a month?
Around 33,000 a year, so.
Oh, 33,000. $1,783 a month difference. So I'll make a motion that we pay Mr. Stevens $1,783 more a month for every month that he's acting director.
I think we only had it in the budget for 2 months.
Yeah, because
But if he goes 3 or 4 months, you can't pay him less.
Well, no, but we'll just have to go and find
Go
the money for
and go back
Okay,
then.
it. We don't have the money.
let me amend my motion for the next 2 months, and we'll see where we are then.
And then his date's still May 31st.
As of right now,
As of right now, until May 31st. Right? Man,
to,
doing it for,
Might as well do
We
it
got
for
a
2
back-
months without, so you don't have any interruptions in case
Okay.
something does happen with Benny.
right.
Get you to the new FY.
he's already been in there almost a month. He'll be out of the month next,
no, he's not been almost a month.
It's only been
3 weeks.
Turn his act.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
only been 2 weeks since Benny's been out.
2 weeks since we made Stephen.
Oh, I'm sorry. I misunderstood you.
Is that customary in other places that an interim director walks in at the same rate of pay as the director? Is that how it's done other places?
See, we voted several years ago for that position. Full commission did. That position and, animal shelter, and it seems like there was one more. To be, am I right?
Directors make
The
this.
directors.
I think if he's going to do the job, especially with such a headache, he deserves all the pay that the director position will allow.
What about the certifications?
He's supposed to be-
From my understanding, he's on the way to get the certifications. Certifications or not, he's doing the job.
I'm going to have to take the heat on a lot.
Yeah. Any more discussion?
So your motion is to increase the interim director's pay by $1,783 a month.
For this, just the 2 months it's
2
budgeted,
months, or until Director Lyons comes back, or,
well, I guess it would have to go back in front of budget at that point.
okay, so just for the 2 months.
I need a second.
So are we voting to, if Benny comes back at the end of the month like he's supposed to continue paying him then?
No, just as long as he's doing the
Just
job.
until Benny's.
Just until Benny's back for up to 2 months. Willie seconded the motion.
There's money involved, you'll.
1,783.
My understanding is it's still got to be approved by the budget committee.
What about you want to do a voice vote?
I was getting time to write.
This is the voice vote.
Wait just a minute, we're still in discussion. It's not gonna go before budget until next Monday, no, next Monday. Then it won't go until full commission. So I'd like to make a friendly amendment to it that it is back paid.
agree with that.
Otherwise, we're gonna be,
We're shorting him for a month of work
Yes.
he's not getting paid for. That's fine with me on,
you made a second,
I did,
is that,
fine.
y'all see what I'm saying? Cause it's gonna.
No, you're exactly right.
Before it gets passed.
Oh,
Increase interim director's pay by $1,783 per month till Director Lyons returns, or up to 2 months.
And backdate it to the,
Once it's passed.
to the point where he started as interim director, correct?
I would think so. I mean, 'cause it's gonna be 3 weeks before it goes before full commission.
That was April 17th.
I think so, I'm looking.
The meeting, special called meeting.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
So it would start on April the 18th.
So from April 18th.
Yes, ma'am.
Roll call.
Yeah, please.
Willie Campbell,
Yes.
Nancy Brown,
Yes.
Steve Burrow,
Yes.
Gary Kemp,
Yes.
Ginger Holdren,
Yes.
Jason Clausen,
Yes.
Jason Raznick,
Yes.
Kelly Collins.
Yes.
Okay, next item on the agenda, discuss the truck rental. I spoke to Benny about that, and he's supposed to be cleaning his stuff out of it. So he's gonna take it back up there, turn the key in. He just asked that they take care of it and don't tear it up. So when he does come back, he's got a vehicle to drive.
The only person that should be driving it,
It's Steve.
To give a date when he's gonna return it.
It's up in there, I think. 31st is what I heard, but he don't go back to the doctor until June.
Right, he's gonna return the truck.
Oh, the truck. I thought you meant.
No, we was talking about returning the truck.
Yeah, he's supposed to have done it, but he didn't. I hadn't seen him, so
I'd call him in the morning.
he was cleaning his stuff out, gonna clean his stuff out and bring it back.
Yeah, but I just wait to call him.
Stephen, do you have a key to that truck at the landfill?
Oh, Benny's got it.
There's only one key and Benny has it. Attorney Harden, will you address this topic for us?
Sure. I'm not sure why there's only one key to the county vehicle. If it's county property, I mean, it should have already been, if you all have asked for it, I mean, you should have already brought it back. I don't know how long it takes to get stuff out of it, but I mean, I certainly would have sent him, Stephen to get it already. If you don't have a key to get in it, I mean, and he's, you tell me he hasn't refused to return it. Just hasn't returned it. I mean, I don't mind to call him if you all want me to call him, but I mean, if he's been instructed to return it, doesn't return it, I mean, that's technically theft. I'm not accusing him of stealing the truck, but it needs to be done. So if he's not gonna bring it back, we need to go get it, whether that means with the rollback or whatever.
when did you talk with him about returning it?
Friday, I think it's Friday, Thursday or Friday, last week.
Was it a phone call or was it in writing?
Phone call. I just called and asked him about it. Told him that we needed it, and he said he would clean his stuff out and bring it back. He would bring it up to the landfill.
But he didn't give you a day. I want to ask for one.
In writing, through email.
And Stephen, at the special called landfill meeting, we asked you to get that truck. Do you remember that being part of the conversation? Have you attempted to get it?
I've asked where it was at, just, I mean, I just checked, like I said, he said he was gonna clean it out. I haven't really interacted with Benny. I mean, I've tried not to, but, you know, I don't wanna bother him while he's on medical leave, so, you know.
I don't feel we should burden him with getting the truck.
Well, it needs to be a county employee, is my understanding, because they need to be insured by the county.
But I don't think it's his job to get an argument with Benny over the truck.
What do you propose we do, Jason?
Have Attorney Harden call him. I'd let Gary call. If you don't get anywhere with Gary, have Attorney Harden call him and demand the truck be returned, or we'll send a rollback for him.
Yeah, I mean, if you speak to him directly, or I will, I mean, I would think 24 hours is sufficient notice to have your stuff, your personal property out of the truck. And if you don't want to bring it back, then we need to go get it.
You're not gonna send a bank employee, a loan officer to repo a truck, so you're not gonna send Stephen up there to get the truck back, you know? That's just my opinion, just when Benny,
I'm just going on,
I'm just saying if Benny does come back, when he comes back, you don't want a bunch of bad blood these guys gotta work together. You know,
I'll get with him first thing in the morning, and if I can't get a time or a day, then I'll call Mr. Harden and let him handle it from there.
I personally am not satisfied with that. You've already called him.
Can we not take a 5-minute recess and somebody try to call him and see where we're staying? That way we know what we need to do.
it's your call, Gary. If you wanna do it,
Yep, I mean,
we'll take the recess and do it.
okay, let's take a 5-minute recess. Smoke 'em if you got 'em.
How do we respond with what the change?
Jason. So if you want to come back.
June first.
Just usually has to
I
hit.
think so, yeah.
Because I've got to go north. My son's graduating high school. And I'll show up.
Feel better?
Monday of the-
Well, it'll be June 5th.
If you leave the park for weeks.
Okay. Call this meeting back to order, and while we were out, the truck is gonna be there at lunchtime,
Before lunch, or Benny.
or Benny.
May I ask a question?
Yes.
Stephen, are you gonna be the only one driving that truck?
As far as I'm aware, yeah, that was part of the, I guess, the way I was understood it, I'm supposed to be the only one in it, so.
Right, well,
Will you get out?
Make sure we don't take the key in my pocket.
You're the boss now, you make sure that nobody else drives it.
If you want to get out, have his key, comes out of it, just pays with me or inside.
Fair enough.
You're responsible.
I'll make a suggestion. When that truck is brought to you, somebody needs to be on this committee. See if that truck's got no dents, no nothing in it, he can come back and say that you did it.
I agree with that.
Can anybody be there? I cannot. You'll be there?
Just take a picture of it.
Yeah, just take pictures from 4 or 5 sides of it.
You'll have it around.
Just see why.
I don't want it to fall back on somebody else.
That's a good point.
Well, what about another key? I mean, if you were to lose that key or lock that key up, we're
That's what I
SOL.
was telling Josh. There might be another key at the office that nobody knows about. Benny's got in the drawer up there. How many vehicles has got just one key besides mine?
It's a cut key.
Once you get your truck back, Steve,
I think I'd ask.
it's a good idea, just make
Stephen,
it.
just to get it.
Yeah.
Pay $300.
well, I make a motion that we have Stephen get another key to the truck if one cannot be found or provided.
I second that motion.
Hold on just a second. I had a same, I don't know if this truck has a cut key to it or not. You know what I'm talking about?
Laser cut.
If it is, you're gonna pay somewhere around $300 to $600 to get another key.
Well,
That, like I said, I've not really been around a limited, I don't know the inside of it, but I do think the key actually has like.
It's just a regular, door mounted in it.
Maybe it will be a laser.
If it's one of the program keys, you're gonna pay $300 to $600.
Yeah, they're expensive.
If it's just a regular key, you can take it down to Lowe's and get a couple bucks.
It'll be laser cut.
well, if somebody knows what they're doing, my husband gets them off of eBay and places like that, pretty cheap. And then he programs it.
Harry Stouts down here does them pretty cheap. I've had a couple done.
So just don't go to the dealership.
Hopefully we can find it, but we can take a vote on that because it was, you know. the
They
motion.
wouldn't make one for mine. They made me a key extra at Lowe's and anywhere I want to go, but it just went to the doors. It had no controls to it. It just unlocked the doors, is all it did.
If we have another key made, where we're gonna put it, I mean, if this is gonna be thrown in the drawer again, it's not gonna benefit anything. I mean, probably an extra key.
Our extra keys to the trucks, pickups and stuff's in Roger's office hanging up in lockbox. Now, the dump trucks and stuff like that, we've got a box in your garage, key and hanging in, the extra keys in the office and the cabinet for the shop ones.
Get another key, mate, just put it in safe.
Safe.
Lock it up, safe, put a tag on it, what it goes to.
I'm sure it's there somewhere.
We need to vote on that motion to make a key carry.
You just brought it up on.
I made a motion.
I seconded the motion.
Okay, we got a motion and got a second on making a key. All in favor?
Wait a minute. If we're gonna have to spend money to buy one, we have to do it by voice.
Yeah, you have to, because it,
Do voice.
Because we're gonna have to pay for a key.
and where's the money gonna come from?
Do we have it?
My motion is gonna be amended to say that the money comes from the landfill's unassigned fund balance. Will you accept that amendment?
I do accept.
Okay.
Did you specify where in landfill?
The landfill's unassigned fund balance.
Willie Campbell,
Yes.
Nancy Brown,
Yes.
Steve Burrow,
Yes.
Gary Kemp,
Yes.
Ginger Holdren,
Yes.
Jason Clausen,
Yes.
Jason Raznick,
Yes.
Kelly Collins.
Yes.
All in favor? Oh, well, never mind. It's been a long day. Next item is a discussion on a credit card machine. Before we do a credit card machine, we're gonna have to get that phone line and internet, all that stuff straightened out. Because if it rains, they don't have that or anyway.
Did you talk to the technology guy? I can't think of his name, just left me.
Anthony,
Wouldn't that be, who does like, add a phone line in here, who does that?
I got a question. How long has the phone's been going out when it rains?
every time it rains,
For how long?
I don't know. How long would it go out?
Has it always been this way?
It should have been addressed as soon as it started
Made
happening.
anybody aware of it?
It's happened several times and it's.
First I've heard of it either.
I've heard of it.
It ain't your fault, we're not fussing.
No.
We're just need somebody to
It
help.
starts happening.
It's definitely the main line, the landfill.
Yeah, the phone doesn't even work if it's raining. Or the internet.
I think we found out when we went up.
This needs to be, when something like this happens, it's gotta be addressed and fixed.
So is that something
Later.
Ron does? Does Ron pull phone line?
No, we don't do anything with the landfill. They have their own fund balance. Anything that has their fund balance, building and grounds doesn't do anything for.
Who,
In the past, didn't Gary Bailey?
Gary was probably, but they need to make a phone call to get whatever it is fixed. Or call me and ask me who to call, like T&M does our phones. But if it's the phone line, it would be Charter or whoever is dealing with their phone line. I don't know who that was, Spectrum needs to come out, a maintenance or service call needs to be made. You'll need to get right, whoever out there, and then on the internet.
Do it while it's raining.
When we found this out, the internet always works.
It sounds to me like it's all to do with whoever your phone system.
Phones go
Yeah,
out.
it's all tied in with that. They've got to come out and do a service call. Somebody needs to set a service call up. Stephen,
interface.
put it on your to-do list.
We've had several come out and repair them and like I said, it's good until it comes with monsoon again and then it's out again, so.
Sounds like they got a short they can't identify and need to run a new phone line.
Yeah, they completely need to run a new line or something.
We've had them reroute the line and everything.
It still don't work. Wow.
That needs to be
I
addressed.
remember we had a problem several years ago. And they came out and said that they had it fixed or whatever. But when we went up there, he said it was still going off.
As of right now, they're working, so.
It's sunshine.
But that needs to be fixed because we can't get the debit card, which after being up there is very badly needed. While we were actually there, a car came by that wanted to pay by debit and couldn't. He didn't have any cash, so he had to turn around and leave. Well, who knows where he put that trash, if he went to another landfill or if he just dumped it somewhere. I mean, we're in the age now where
You about have to.
every office that I know of has it except the
I
landfill.
thought we had it worked out, we're just waiting for them to install it. Is that not what was said in a few meetings back?
That's what I thought, but then we never was installed. We never did hear anything else about it. So when I was up there,
We need to go with, was it,
Does Anthony put the credit card machines in here?
No, it's through BIS. Somebody's gonna say, I think Carolyn will be responsible for setting that contract up, and make sure there's money appropriated for it.
We've done, I thought we'd voted.
thought we already did that,
To
but
do that.
we might not have actually.
I thought the machine was there waiting just to get it installed.
I don't know where the communication broke down, but Carolyn usually doesn't attend this meeting, so the word may just not have gotten to her.
I won't try to get it.
Well, that definitely needs to be checked on. Because like I said, while we were standing there and a guy couldn't try, and I, how many times does that happen in a day? That, I don't carry cash, so. And also the people that charge or have a monthly bill or whatever, the card can be used for that. If they're not, it can automatically go on there.
You can put it on file
Yeah.
every month.
Well, they can charge you at the end of the day or at the end of the week, whatever. As of right now, there's no outstanding bills there either. So as of last when we were up there, but it's another good.
So you need to call Carolyn, email her and ask her about it, or visit her or
I was
something.
gonna say, we can put this on for next month's meeting until we call and get them up there to repair the line.
Well, we need to talk to Carolyn and see where she stands and why, because like I said, maybe we didn't vote on it. I don't have my minutes right here with me, but I know we discussed it. And she was in here when we discussed it. I'm almost sure she was in here that night. I don't want to 100% say, but
Something makes me think that they said that they could put it in, but an additional line needed to be put into the building. Because if the phone rings and you're running somebody's card, it kicks you off. So if there's not enough lines while you've got them there, have them go ahead and add us a line. That way, if we get the credit card machine, it's already ready to go. We don't have to wait on it to come back again.
Most machines are running through the web now.
Do
How yours do?
All my machines run through the web. It don't type a phone line, doesn't do.
A lot of them are web-based now with BIM. I think all of our county offices are web-based.
Is that bill enough to do
It don't take much.
I think it definitely has to be a secure internet connection for sure. Like you couldn't be in the middle of a credit card transaction in the rain.
that?
And, it don't work. That was very funny. I'm just saying,
Sorry, we're on that.
sorry it's rain late.
so
It's not
let
raining.
me go back over this again to make sure I understand. We're going to talk to Carolyn, and she's going to talk with the company.
She needs to set up the, whatever's going on with BIS. And I think you're correct. That was the conversation that was had. And I think money's been appropriated for that. I just don't know. I might Ginger, the conversation piece, the communication piece may have gotten dropped.
Because that's losing us money. So.
It could be creating a litter problem.
Yes.
Could be creating a litter problem too,
Carolyn is out of town tomorrow, so you won't be able to talk to her till Wednesday. But don't we also need to reach out to the phone carrier, the phone and internet carrier?
That's what I said. I'm gonna go up there tomorrow, Stephen and I'll call and see if we can get them up there to either run a new line or see what the problem is.
But we need to email Carolyn also, so we know that
I'll
she's
email her.
receiving it.
All on that. And then we can bring the credit card machine up next.
Well, if it's already in process,
Yeah.
we've already voted on it,
Go ahead and get it going.
well, put it in.
Okay, we got on here discussion is, certification. He is already registered for this class, this certification class, May the 23rd through the 25th. And him and Carolyn, he had spoke to Carolyn, I guess everything's taken care of and he's registered for it. Go down.
Well, we need to, how's it gonna be paid for? We need to bring a motion up that it's paid. How did Carolyn say?
I wasn't there, I just hearsay what he said and
I mean, Carolyn's not gonna pay for it, so it's gonna have to come out of somewhere.
Did she say anything about how?
I know it said something about the travel line, and as far as the class itself, I'm not sure. That come from
If it's,
outside or what?
if it's for landfill certification, comes from the landfill.
Right, so, I mean, what I'm saying is, do we need to make a motion, even though they've already paid for it, that we pay for it?
Yeah. I would think. Have you got a total of what that was gonna be? Class and room and,
Not sure, 100% on the room, the class was $400. And I won't say the room,
$98.
yeah, $98.
There's gonna be some meals and stuff included.
You'll have to do a per diem sheet, it's in the mileage sheet.
I'd
It
say
depends
that,
on how much is in that travel line. If there's enough in the travel line, it'll cover his room and the per diem sheet. But I would say there's nowhere to pull that certification fee from, because it would have to be under dues, in the dues line, that we pay out of, and I don't know what's in there.
Makes a county truck, it wouldn't be mileage, right?
Correct.
Danny, you don't happen to have a landfill budget with you?
I just happen to have one.
Oh, do you?
Well,
Will you look at it and see if there's a line item for kid service, training, education, something like that?
that's what I'm looking at right now.
It's to my understanding that Chris Schuler is taking the county vehicle because he's going to get recertified himself,
so they're not right together.
and they're gonna go together.
That'd be good.
Well, then they can take his truck or either way,
He don't have a county.
do that one.
That works.
I don't know if he'll make it the,
One way or another, he'll have a county truck.
Now he'll get there.
anyway, that's what's,
I don't expect him to take his own vehicle to Murfreesboro.
I did.
This class being given.
But anyway, that's Chris is gonna get recertified while he's down there too.
Which is a good idea, so we gotta back it.
Yeah.
Right now, if he was to get sick, then we got nobody. If TDEC was to come in, we gotta have somebody that knows what to say when they come in.
Well, in this certification, will they discuss whatever APR is that we got through the email today? Because I have no idea what that means.
It's the landfill's annual compliance report. It's kind of the same thing that planning does, where we got nicked on it. We've been given another extension on this one, and I signed off on it last week, but they missed it. And they're trying to get it worked out. We hope to have it signed off on by tomorrow. If not, we're gonna be fined up to $5,000 again.
Why did it not get done today?
Because we didn't have all the information. We don't go to the meeting.
Benny's the chair over the solid waste committees for Washington and Carter County. That's how big this is. And nobody was aware that Benny was the chair. Stephen didn't know. So the email was going to the solid waste email and Benny's email for the signature page, which was last week. And I don't know, they didn't know nobody knew they were supposed to be signing it. So they're giving us until tomorrow. Is that correct, Stephen?
We're talking
Get it
to
signed.
them today. We're gonna try to get it took care of tomorrow, so.
In the email, it said that, I guess it was a gentleman said that he talked to Benny and Benny did not remember his password. So is that where the problem is too? Do we have a password?
Yeah, but we've got that straightened
They
out.
got the password straightened out today.
We got online and we were gonna do that, but it asks for the date of the meeting. It asks for the members that were present, who voted yes, who voted no. It's got all these questions that we weren't there, so we didn't know. So I called, what is that office?
The development district.
Yeah, I called her today and she said that the girl that was over that had quit or resigned, or she wasn't no longer there. And the girl I spoke to didn't know all that information. So I called Benny while I was at the landfill today, and he gave me a number of the person, and I called him, And he's gonna email me all that information in the morning so that I can go up there and we can sit down and put it in there.
Okay,
Because neither one of us, we weren't on no
right.
committee meeting or anything,
Can
so
you
we.
email us when you've got it finalized so that we all know, because we're talking a fine here,
Exactly.
$5,000 or more if it goes longer.
I'll just shoot it out to everybody.
So Commissioner Deal, did you find lines that we can take this from?
I did not in travel or certifications or anything.
There's not one that says travel. All right.
We don't have a travel one.
It's for us.
I didn't see it.
I don't know what to do, because if there's no line item for that, and we're taking his salary out of the unassigned fund balance, there may not be enough left in the unassigned to cover this.
That's what Carolyn said when we were talking about doing the pay, that was just enough to get by.
He travels and goes to, he does all kinds of classes and stuff. I know he's good to have.
Certification line or something, I can't.
I didn't see anything.
Continuing education or something.
Who made this motion? The motion that's on the floor right now? We don't have one?
No, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I looked at,
Here's his travel line.
oh, he didn't see it. He just overlooked it. Sorry.
You're fine.
Does it say
His may be different than some of ours. He's got his travel on, which this is just this is just the proposed budget. It doesn't tell me how much is in his lines though. These are just the proposed budgets.
But there is a line
Here's his
for
Yeah. You have his actual budget.
from Carolyn.
Okay, that is,
Hang on, 16, and this 2 years.
that's 2022.
So travel was 350.
I don't know what he spent.
It's your convenience centers. Looks like, yeah, I see right here, sure.
Surely she would not have paid it if there was not money for it. Surely she would have checked that.
Yeah, this is just his proposed budget. It's not his actual expenditures, yeah.
He said, Carolyn.
I would say he's got enough in his travel. It's just the $400 that we need to.
Karen said what?
Karen told me today that, we got the line out for travel, and said there's around $3,100 in travel.
He's probably gonna have enough in travel. It's just paying that certification fee. It probably needs to come out of. It can come out of his dues and membership line, but nobody knows how much is in them.
He said Carolyn.
Hey, here's-
told me that there was like $3,100 in travel.
Yeah, I'm sure he's got enough in his travel. He had 5,000 budgeted. He hasn't traveled much, so
There's the proposed, but that was,
travel will be fine. It's just.
it's 55.
We just confirmed that.
They increased it, it was $6,050.
That should do it all, shouldn't it? If there's 31 in there.
So, okay, I'll make a motion that this is the certification, class 1 is paid for through the travel line item. That Carolyn said you had $3,100 in.
I second the motion.
She's already paid for it.
I second.
Did you put an amount up to? Well,
You're including this $100.
$400. What is two? 3 nights.
3 nights plus tax.
No tax, don't do no tax.
And then
Okay.
food.
Food is what, is it $100 a day?
A little less than that, yeah, and he won't have to do mileage since he's taking a county vehicle, so.
So up to $1,000 should cover
Be a
it,
safe number.
around 900, so that'll give you.
Up to 1,000.
$1,000.
We got a first and a second. All in favor? Wait a minute, I'm sorry, roll call.
Willie Campbell.
Aye.
Nancy Brown. Steve Burrow. Gary Kemp.
Aye.
Ginger Holdren. Jason Clausen.
Yes.
Jason Raznick.
Yes.
Kelly Collins.
Yes.
That next item, didn't we do, we just discussed that, didn't we?
No, it was an update on how much we had in fund balance, so we made sure we'd have overtime. I thought Carolyn was going to give that to us. Did she not give you a number? Okay.
So that's not the same thing as on the minutes. On that special call meeting.
Well, we had asked her to make sure we had enough so we would know and what our fund balance total was. But since she's not here, there's really no reason to address that.
Okay. Next item, address the email sent. Great. Comment. Who's that?
The email that you sent to us.
Oh, I sent it?
I think you did.
You put it on the agenda, right?
No,
I
That's the
put it on-
picture.
I put it
I
on-
put it on the agenda.
We got an email.
Talking about
You
how
made the agenda?
trash was piled up, so on and so forth.
I get so many emails and phone calls a day. I'm about ready to turn
You
this
sent it to us?
paperwork.
Actually, Patty sent it.
I forwarded it out to you all.
Somebody sent us.
Sorry, Gary.
Somebody
Patty
sent us.
sent it.
Okay, I was gonna say I didn't.
I forwarded to the committee just because it.
Right here.
I mean, I know we got one, so.
Anybody wanna read
I
this?
get 5 or 6 a day, but Patty.
Read it to us, Barry.
You wanna read this?
No, I haven't read it. I just was doing my due diligence, sending it to you.
There it is. Okay, I found it. You want me to read it?
Yeah.
Okay, it says Mrs. Woody, Miss Woody. I've been going to the landfill for probably around 25 years. The last few weeks I have noticed that the trash has been piled up out of the building. When you go up to the landfill 3 or 4 times a week, you begin to build a relationship with everyone there, especially the girls in the office. I've noticed that Mr. Lyons has not been there. I had asked the girls in the office, and they told me that Mr. Lyons was out on medical. I don't know who is acting as a director, nor do I care, but the landfill looks worse than it has in a long time. When I asked a couple of the drivers a question while unloading some of the metal at the shop, they, while standing around, proceeded to tell me that Mr. Lyons will not be back to work, that they will make sure of it. To me, that was the wrong thing to say. Mr. Lyons ran the landfill the best that he could. If the drivers feel that way, they need to go somewhere else. My problem is, instead of getting trash out of there, they want to stand around. Thank you.
Miss Woody.
name was spelled wrong, that's why I didn't recognize it. Any
What
discussion?
day was he up there?
20, he sent this the 26th.
Wednesday, the 26th. And I went up there and it was out the door, out in the road. And I spoke with Stephen, and next day I went back and trash was gone. So they did get it taken care of. They got it cleaned up. I think they come in at, two drivers came in at 6 the next morning just to get an extra 2 or 3 loads, whatever they hauled. And the floor was cleaned up, the trash was gone, and so it can be done.
So this guy probably just seen a snapshot of the 5 minutes he was there.
Yeah.
He seen it at a high
That's the
point.
way it always is. They're there, they take a picture, and they leave, and they don't go back till 3 or 4 or 5 days later.
You get 5 big trash trucks come in and dump, and you've got one truck over here that's full, waiting on the trailer to come back. I mean, it's gonna happen.
Ross said, I haul up there sometimes a couple times a week, and I've saw the trash rolling out and then come in and it's completely gone.
I mean, it happens. The building ain't big enough to hold it all.
There's really not a whole lot more than the fact that the driver said that Benny will be back. They'll make sure of it. That's hearsay, so.
Yeah, it's hearsay from this guy to the,
Well, we need to
In my opinion.
email back and tell them that this was discussed and we looked into or something. I mean, he took, and I've had complaints, so also. Not from this person, but I've had some calls.
then I was up there today too, and it wasn't as clean as this, but, you know.
Well, mine wasn't,
Clean.
my complaints weren't about the clean. Mine were about a lot of people standing around and several people inside the office that doesn't really need to be inside the office.
I spoke to Stephen about that too, and he's,
And hopefully that's taken care of, so, you know, Stephen, you're just gonna have to get on them and, I mean, that,
But just 'cause-
hopefully that comes with the job.
But just because somebody says they see them standing around, they don't know the dynamics of what they're doing. I'm not taking up for them. I've worked at a lot of different jobs, and just because somebody sees somebody standing in a group when the 5 minutes they're there, don't mean that,
Well, these come in and out more than one time,
okay.
the calls that I've had.
I'm not taking up for them. I'm just saying they don't know what the job is. I can go by a job site down here and watch Summers and Taylor's have 5 guys standing there looking in a hole and 1 guy on the machine. But they've all got a purpose. I mean,
I understand.
Stevens, I mean, you're up there. Do you see them, people hanging out in the office that shouldn't be? And I mean, you're new to this, not like they're not jumping on you at all, but I mean, do you see anything going on that needs to be addressed like that?
As far as most of it, everybody knows what their job is and everybody knows what they're supposed to do.
Or are they doing it?
Yeah, I mean, we're doing the best we possibly can. I mean, I've had to tighten up on a few of them, but I mean, as far as people standing around, like you said, 5 minutes they're there. I mean, it's the landfill, so they could be airing tires up, waiting for their tires to air up. They could be waiting, you know.
Absolutely.
So,
And you've got to be the judge of that, you know, and you've took on a new role, you know, where you were probably with them and now you're their boss, so, you know, and you'll see that and know, but I mean, that's your job to make sure that if they're staying around, they're staying around for a reason.
so I mean, yeah, like I said, when Gary, we talked about the trash backing up, and actually what had happened was we had a piece of equipment go down, and it's just at the rate it was coming in, you know, the trash doesn't stop just because the truck breaks down. So
Absolutely.
So, I actually personally got that truck fixed. I worked, you know, extended hours to make sure we got it taken care of and got back going. And then it was just a game of catch up after that. At one point, as bad as it sounds, at one point, it happens frequently, unfortunately, is it comes in faster than we can get rid of it. So, and like today, we counted, there was a total of all big trucks with all companies. There was like 15 trucks coming today. On average, rear loaders, like the city runs 2 of them, fills the tractor and trailer. So you think, you got 15 of those coming in and you've only got, 6 loads coming out. It's really, everything has to run great to stay ahead. So, but as far as people standing around, yeah, I mean, I would, coming in, I can kind of just glance around and say, okay, well, they've got a tire low and I'm, I guess it's where I've been around it enough. I can just come in and tell by what vehicle's where as to what's going on. So, yeah, like I said, I've had to tighten up with people, but it's kind of a new role for me, so I'm trying to get a foothold as best as I can without stepping on people's toes.
And you don't want to come in and be the bad guy first thing, make them all mad too.
Well, also you gotta think about when Benny comes back,
You want to pay.
you don't wanna ruffle too many feathers, go right back out.
I don't have a problem with the trash being backed up. I know that happens. But I do have a problem with people that are in the office that don't need to be in the office unless there's a specific reason. Because after being up there and seeing the cars come and go, they don't really have a lot of time to chit chat. And, I wasn't up there, but I have had several calls about it and from several people. And again, they may have just seen 4 or 5 minutes or whatever, but, I would just keep an eye on it because,
Yeah,
people give an inch, they're gonna take a mile. So you have to, you gotta stay on top of it. And I think it was taken care of because I know Gary went up there also and I mean, we've got a little change over here right now. There's gonna be issues, so let's just try to, do the best we can.
It was brought to my attention about a dog being in the office.
yeah, I'm not 100% on that. I mean, nobody really. I mean, I don't know the rules or regulations. As far as I know, it's a service animal. So I don't know if it has, as far as as my understanding, it's a service dog. So.
Well, I know a couple of years ago, and Patty can relate to this, we had some issues with the service dog in the planet. And literally it was a liability. So something needs to be done about that. I think it needs to be addressed or looked into or, because that is a liability on the county if something was to happen.
Josh, do you want to go over with Stephen the service animal policy? I mean, there are rules that you can't ask, but they are supposed to have it notated on the dog at some point in time. I mean, we have a policy in place.
We adopted a policy. I can send that to you or talk to you about it anytime you want to, but there are restrictions. I mean, you can't ask to see paperwork or things like that, but there are things we can do to restrict, obviously, non-service animals. But I'll be happy to send you that or anytime you want to call me. I don't know the specific circumstances of this dog or anything like that.
Hopefully she's got
PTSD.
And it is a service dog, but other than that, that's all I know.
I tell you, it's the laziest dog I've ever seen. I wouldn't be too scared of it, but we still need to go by what the county's policy is.
Yeah, these kind of service animal has to be trained to do specific tasks and
it's still a pup too.
it doesn't sound like it's a service animal. It might be a therapy dog or something like that.
Okay, the other thing that we needed to address was literally, I've been told that Benny's bringing stuff in his personal vehicle. And I know, he may be cleaning up stuff around his house or whatever, but I know with FMLA, it's a touchy subject, we need to find out where we stand on that, if it's a large amount or, because if you're out on FMLA, and we're paying that out, you don't want somebody getting paid that, and I'm not assuming that, you don't want them to get paid that and them doing their own personal stuff while they're on this leave.
Okay, before we go any further there, let me bring this up. I have spoke with Josh and after reviewing
Benny's paperwork. I want to ask the committee if Josh, Carolyn, and myself can ask Benny to come in and sit down and talk to him and get some clarification on his paperwork. Me being the supervisor, I had the right to look at his paperwork, and that's when we decided that there needs to be some things clarified. So I want to ask the committee if they'll approve or vote that Josh, Carolyn, and myself sit down with Benny to go over this.
What do you want to clarify?
Just some discrepancies. It's not, we can't go into it.
Would that be going against HIPAA though?
We, as the employer, we got the right to know what the limitations are. I think, I haven't personally seen the paperwork, but my understanding is there's some vague or contradictory information. So we certainly are not prying into a medical condition, but we have the right to know what the limitations are, if work can be done intermittently, hours or days, if there's tasks that can be done versus tasks that can't be done. And my understanding is none of those questions are answered from the paperwork we have. So that's all it is. It's not a interrogation of Mr. Lyons. It's asking for further clarification from his physician so we know how we can accommodate him.
That needs to happen myself personally. I'll make the motion for that.
I'll second.
All in favor? So I'll that when you come in.
If that's the way you want to handle it, I'll ready and you're ready. And like I said, it's mainly would be just asking him what information that we need, and it would be him getting it back through his physician. So it's not a interview or interrogation. It's just trying to get information on how we're supposed to proceed.
Gary, may I please make a suggestion? Will you please tell him that did come through committee, ask committee approval, and will you please do it in writing? No more just.
Email it to him, email it.
Yeah, but.
When you asked him to meet, just let him know it came through the committee.
Oh, okay.
How do you?
And do so via email.
Or even a text message would be acceptable, right, paper trail? No.
Would it, attorney? Is a text message acceptable?
I would prefer the email, but anything's better than phone.
I didn't know if he'd respond quicker to a text versus an email.
Check your email.
You make sure you copy Josh on any correspondence. Normally, if he sees the attorney copied, he'll follow back.
How would you like this motion worded?
Who made the motion?
Nancy.
I did.
Well, Gary, you made the motion, didn't you? Or you asked for the motion? I'm sorry.
I asked for their approval.
You're right.
I didn't make a motion. Right.
Ginger, what was?
I make a motion that literally we give permission for the county attorney, Gary, and Carolyn to meet with Benny to see what his limitations are. Did anything else do that?
Did it say clarification with doctor's orders?
Yeah, something of that.
to vote on the motion.
That's what I was thinking. I was trying to think where it was after I wrote all that. Got a first and a second. Does everybody agree? All in favor? All opposed? You got the floor.
Director's report.
He passed these out earlier.
Like I said, just bear with me, this is my first one. So I didn't want to go through
Hey, Stephen, I'm getting up in years. Can you talk just a little bit louder, please?
I'm sorry, it's just my natural. Quiet person, I'm not used to being loud, so. Like I said, this is my first one, so it's kind of bear with me. It's, I kind of asked Gary a lot, is what's been done in the past, as far as what they need to do, but just the first one is just April report as far as everything coming into the landfill and revenue and loads, tonnage, different materials.
I think the last 4 pages, if you look at it, that's all cardboard from first of the year till now. Gives a total there at the end of what we've made.
Talk about this for a second. I hope the committee members are keeping these reports each month. You need to look back over them from month to month. And, like this month is relatively the same as March, but it's $5,000 less. In January, 234,000 was brought in. So it's 85,000 less than January. So I would kind of like to know why it's fluctuating like that and why we've been so low lately.
So what you're saying, Ginger, is the amount of revenue in January is 234 grand,
Yes, sir.
and we're only 152 in April. Don't make a whole lot of sense, just because springtime, you'd think more people would bring more to the dump versus January, especially more demo and construction.
Yeah.
Well, I know some of it was after Christmas.
I have this Christmas bill when it's one, and then it's out here, one load. It's on the front page.
From a Christmas tree. A lot of times, I don't know why people hang on to them, but you see some unique things at the landfill. I don't know why anybody's going to Christmas tree in April. But, that's usually what they have their abbreviation for, is usually just a Christmas tree. They charge individually at least $10 for that one.
Artificial Christmas tree, is that what you're saying?
No, it should be a real one.
And then I also want to point out on the second page, it says cardboard and metal recycling, that it is up in April. So in March, there was only 203 bales of cardboard. In April, it was 277. In March, there was 32,000 pounds of metal containers. And in April, there's 41,000. So those numbers went up, which is good. I feel good.
Found a supplier of cardboard or buyer of cardboard for that flyer, did it?
Yeah, as a touch base of the curbside recycling of Asheville. They were actually, where we're at now, I think it's Continental, we were paying $55 a ton for cardboard. I think the curbside was $65 a ton. We shipped a couple loads towards them. Like I said, I'm still trying to get a handle on what's what. I don't know if we're in the contract with Continental or what. I know we're guaranteed a load with them weekly. I'm still trying to touch base with all that, try to figure out, if it's something where, our hands are tied on it. I actually talked to Kurt, I actually met him. I'm going to look at some stuff I don't know about previously, but I know as far back as I can see, a couple months through emails, there were some things curbside bought that was originally said from Continental to be basically dead. And actually curbside actually comes and bought a bunch of material out of it, so.
Good.
Stephen, didn't you tell us when I was up there that you cleaned out a whole bunch of stuff too?
Yes, at one point in time, I talked to curbside, like I was saying, as far as, I may be wrong, the first time. But I was under the impression that basically plastic, or cord, which is the cardboard tube, there was no market for them, they got a market, they just said, it's plastic, curbside came in and offered us like $20 a ton for cord, so I saw him, and he came in and basically said everything here could go, he could move everything there, so and in I think what, 2 weeks span, I think I got like 5 or 6 loads from curbside out of there on different materials. So
That's one reason why it's gone up. That's what I was getting at.
So next
Because I think he.
month it'll be all back out probably.
yeah, I'm expecting the monthly prices from curbside. He said they go out on the 5th every month. Should by the end of the week, we should have the new price on it. It is considerably higher than what we're getting right now. I think Continental was paying $95 a ton for offered $125 a ton for cord. I know the steel cans, they fluctuate just like steel price does. It's like, at one point in time, I think, at the last month, April prices, they were somewhere about $150 That's quite enough for a load. If you'd offered, with the mix match, do half plastic, half paper, or whatever, you would separate it out.
What about metal right now?
Metal, where scrap metal goes, I talked to Pooter, which does our metal, and currently it's went down to $525 100 pounds right now.
25?
I haven't researched prices elsewhere. It's just who is dealing with, so I didn't know if we were bound under any kind of deal with that or not. I do know that one reason we went with Pooter is he doesn't charge us for the tug. It's just basically profit. So that way, I guess they tried to make sense to me. They're saying, the scrap steel is kind of like it goes, kind of bases off the stock market as it fluctuates. So does the prices on your materials, not just metal, but everything. For the best of my, like I said, I'm still new to it, so I'm still trying to get a grasp on it. So and we're trying our best to put out as many as we can with the equipment we have. We got 2 tubs at the landfill, so.
How's our equipment doing right now?
So far, knock on wood, we're doing good. We haven't had any kind of catastrophic failures. Like I said, we had that one little hiccup with one of our trucks, which it had overheated, and and then our yard dog, actually it grenaded the rear end in it, but we were lucky enough to get one and get it in within, I think, a week. But we had a truck, it wasn't ideal, but we had a truck on hand that we could swap in for the time being, so we could continue moving, so. You know, anything comes down, I usually try my best to get it back up, going as long as parts allow. Some of our trailers are in need of landing gear replaced. They're getting, cranks are getting wore out, gears are busted, but the dilemma with that is landing gear that we use on them has to be a heavy duty to support the weight and everything, and they're on national back order. So I've got 7 sets ordered, but there's no telling when they'll be here. So we're tossing around the idea of trying a different brand if we get it quicker, to see if they'll hold up. I mean, the trash stuff is just horrible on the equipment. Gary had asked too on some of the floors in the trailers. They're all supposed to be walking floors, but when we purchased them, they were pretty wore out. They weren't very well maintained from who originally had them. So a lot of them, the floors don't walk at the moment. It's going to be extensive repairs to get them operational again. When we had them, their floors are warped, there's holes in them, the cylinders are bad in them, rusted together. So we've just been using a tipper over there for right now. And like I said, it's just, we try our best to keep them over. I try, every one of us up there puts in work to try to, get them out if we can. The trailers themselves, in my opinion, I don't know. They're coming from a mechanical background. They're past their lifespan.
We lost each other, didn't we?
Yeah. Was that the ones in Johnson County?
The ones that Shannon Lumber had.
Did you say you put a container up at the top so that people could start putting cardboard in it?
Yes,
I've seen that.
Yeah, I took a roll-off container. It's a 20 or 30 yard roll-off container. So far, it's the best of my knowledge, we got 3 loads out of it. Just from people putting it in on their own, and then if we get it and it's not nasty, we try to put it in ourselves.
Right. Steve, were you gonna talk?
That's what I was gonna bring up. If we can, if me and you and Gary or whoever, we need to go see Willie today at Northport Wholesale. I don't care that him and Benny got into it years ago, that don't matter. I wanna go see him, and if we can get the committee to approve it, how many loads does he bring in there a month right now?
Monthly, I don't know. I know weekly, there's at least 3 to 4 of those box trucks that comes in.
Was there a reason that we could, I mean, I know we charge to pick up cardboard containers different places. This is next door. Is there any reason that we could not put him a container over there if he will agree to use it and give us a place to park it? I mean, we're literally gonna pick it up, take it next door and dump it and bring it right back. I mean, that's free money that is not got very minimal mileage hauling it.
The problem was he didn't want to pull out all the plastic stuff with it. That's where the issue came.
My thought on that, we've got some of the inmates up there. Why can't they separate the plastic? We can bail, that way we get plastic to bail, to sell.
I'm good with that, but I don't
Bail
know
to sell.
Could you,
they're able to do
do you
it.
think that the workers would do that?
I don't see why you couldn't. I mean,
I mean, they're not so backed up that they can't.
I hate to ruffle feathers, but I mean, there's enough of them there. I don't see why it would be a problem. I mean, we run our route with our stuff personally. There's no way on earth to avoid people putting trash in it. So they have to do the same thing to our truck. So I don't see what the difference is. Them going to one truck versus
I'll get a hold of him and see if we can meet with him and try to smooth things out.
He
Because,
goes to a load of
I
cardboard.
mean, if he's bringing
Loads and
2 or 3
loads.
box trucks at a time, I mean, that's a lot of cardboard for free. I hate not to be able to go get it. I mean, the only thing is, what do we do about not charging to haul it off? I mean, can we do that? Or because you've got other people we're charging? Can't do
As far as, from my understanding, on the recycle side with the roll-offs and with the front loader truck, we just charge a monthly rental fee. There's no, you can have it emptied as many times as you want to, and there's no charge for it. It's just for the container itself.
Josh, you got some input?
it. What do you think?
If you're asking me if I realize it's a lot of free cardboard or whatever, but I mean, if you're asking me if you can do this for one business and nobody else, then I gotta say no. I mean, I can't see, I mean, I understand the common sense of it, but I don't think you can give one business something for free that you charge everybody else for.
Because they're paying to dump it at the landfill, aren't they? By weight?
Yeah, they're paying by weight.
We just need to go talk to them and tell them we want to come dump it at the recycle.
Tell you, you could check, see how much on they're averaging a month. And that may come out cheaper for them to just rent the roll off and have it there, and then you're still charging them just like you charge everybody else. They come out money ahead and we come out in better shape. It may be, I don't know, you just have to check the numbers and see.
I know which I know that would have to be emptied multiple times for the volume they produce. But just a standard, like right out back here at the courthouse, just an 8-yard, I think it's $40 a month, so.
They're gonna need a roll off.
And a roll off, I think they run around 80 to 120, somewhere around there, depending on the size.
If we done a discount program that any business could hit that nobody else is gonna hit but them, and it would discount it down because they've got so many loads, we could probably work it out where, hey, any other business gonna give us that kind of cardboard to be the same deal, but.
You don't have to do it for everybody.
Well, you could, if it was a discount program, you could.
You send X number of pounds of cardboard, you get a discount too.
Everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I think you had to have one policy and maybe, maybe that policy would, there be only one business that could meet the criteria, but I don't know if I would set out to purposely draw it up that way. It may be that there's other businesses that could do that too.
If they did, it would be beneficial to us and be where they'd be paying it that way. Because I mean, I don't do enough cardboard. I'd love to have a cardboard dumpster. I haul mine up there and throw it away and pay. But if I had as much cardboard as them, then I'd hit the free and it'd be a good deal. If I don't, I don't.
Is there not is the drop off up and running, the thing that's outside the gate or wherever it is for cardboard being dropped?
All up and running.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I mean, there's no restriction on when or how much people can bring to that. You got to be there to empty it. It's right next door.
We just need to talk him into driving next door. Right.
As far as,
That's the best deal, just talk him into bringing it to us.
as far as that goes, yeah, you can bring as much as you want to if you operate business hours. So.
Yeah, because there's no way they could do it in the convenience center.
They unload it when they bring it to the dump.
Usually by hand. There's usually a guy riding and he gets back there and maybe.
They use their truck.
Yeah,
So they come back up to the door and
So
unload
they'll
it.
bring it there to- And if we took, it doesn't need to be dry too.
Yeah, preferably dry.
So if we put a roll off over there, it's gonna be wet.
I mean, we have a couple covered ones, but then it would still open the back door and walk in.
Now, if they're willing to, if they drive a truck from their place to the landfill now,
Right. They'll go next door.
during business hours, they can back their truck up to the recycle center, I would think.
Yeah.
Just like anybody else could.
Mr. Chair, can I say something? I've seen them back that box truck up and on the conveyor myself from the Valley Forge auction and unload tons of boxes. And I was up there one Saturday and they pulled in there and unloaded a ton of them. That box truck was completely full.
I'll try to get hold of him this week.
Put a gate up.
Yeah, that's why I said we'll put a gate up.
Put a gate up.
It's parking lot.
It'd be easier to back right in there.
A real amount.
We can't get the guy to come put a gate up for the other things. I don't know when we get that done either.
Have a conveyor.
So why is our 24-hour recycling not up and running? This is the first I've heard of it.
Well,
Benny was heading all that up.
Benny was heading all of it up. And
Last we heard, we were waiting on concrete.
when Benny left, I kind of took over it. And I just today got the last estimate, the bill, so that I can take it to Cary and get POs wrote to the companies that's doing it, so we can finish getting it done.
Concrete bids, is that what
I
you're?
got one, Summer Taylor gave me one for the concrete.
And the guy got it for the labor.
The guy that's doing the foreman and the fixing the pad,
Who is that?
Ken Arnold.
Benny's brother-in-law, I figured that.
He was the cheapest,
He probably is. He does good work. I assumed it was.
but got his today. And the guy doing the fence, I got yesterday by email. So I've got all three bids coming in
You just have to
right.
have one bid. You just have to have one bid each.
As far as that's what I was told.
It doesn't work for me.
Okay,
Me, but
okay.
You know, it was a set amount of $8,000.
we need to ensure.
If we can get it done under $8,000, because it's already been approved. We just had to get I've got three, and I was going to get the POs wrote tomorrow.
All the
Carolyn,
bids under $8,000?
So it's all the total cost.
I know, that's what
yeah,
I'm saying.
total cost, all three bids that I've got is right at $6,300. So that's well under the 8,000 that we appointed or approved.
You happen to know the other bids on the concrete finish?
Two of them.
Yeah. I got I did get two bids on the fence. One
It's
was.
just quotes, right?
Quotes.
Estimates.
Yeah, estimates. The concrete, guessing at 7 yards of concrete is $1,134. The framing and the concrete work is $1,600, and moving the fence is $3,600. It comes to a total of $6,334.
How many bids did you get to finish the concrete? Just the one?
Just the one, that's all I was
That's all?
told we needed, because it was already pre-approved and.
It costs more to frame it than does concrete?
Frame and prep it, yeah.
Hey, Gary.
Work to put the concrete.
That's just 7 yards. I mean, just one, it's not even a full truckload. Just to finish it, room finish it wouldn't take them long.
And that Summer Taylor said that the county it was cheaper for the county. Concrete was cheaper because if I'd call, because of the county contract.
You only can buy the concrete cheaper than the private individual can.
So he figured $162 a yard for the county, and he said it would be way more than that if it was an individual. So he figured 7 yards could take 6. I mean, it just, when they go to pouring it, that they'll know.
When can they do all this? I mean, what are we talking here?
Ken has got it framed in. And when he gets his, whatever final he's doing, he'll call Summer and Taylor. And Summer Taylor will bring the concrete. They'll pour it, he'll finish it. And then after it dries, he comes in, takes his framing down or form. So that shouldn't take long, but the fence guy, you're looking at 6 to 8 weeks.
The problem is, we used to have another fence guy in town, and then he passed. So there's a guy that used to work for him that is taking the reins. And another company has bought that company and he's doing some small stuff for him, but they're not prepared to do a government job right now. I mean, they're doing like dog lot stuff like that, but as far as coming to work for us, they don't have all their stuff together to do that.
This guy here, he estimated it $3,600, and the guy that he's talking about, he estimated it at $6,200. So
we're high price.
Right.
Yeah, we can wait 6 weeks.
And I mean, Keith Cable does great work. And I mean, for half the price, you can't hardly go anybody.
Can we get a definite date of when Ken Arney's gonna finish by email? And then will he contact you or will he contact the concrete people, or do we need to
no,
Ken will take care of all
he
that.
takes care of all
He'll set
that.
the concrete order up. That's how it works. Generally, your concrete finisher will set the concrete up, have it delivered when he's gonna be there. He lines all that out.
So we wanna get that in email.
Yeah, he takes care of all that.
Cause this has been going on for way too long.
Yes.
And our county attorney can follow this up better, but if we have an active director, he has to be the one putting in POs. We approve,
Carrie does it.
well, you're
He signs
gathering,
off on it.
okay, but you're gathering the things, and what we're trying to say is, where you're an elected official, we approve it, but when you're kind of coming up with, I'm just saying, Josh, you just explain.
Yeah, I guess she's trying to say that the director executes the plan, right? You all are the committee, and the chairman of the committee just has authority in this meeting. So, I mean, you all, it's certainly great that you all would go investigate and get information or all these things, but all the decisions are made and voted on in this committee by majority, and then the director executes the plan, right? So he would go do this stuff, get POs issued through his office, deal with the contractors, all that stuff would be handled by the director. That's it. So, it's great that you're helping and being up there and stuff like that, but I mean, your all's authorities to vote by majority in this room, and beyond that, the director's he executes the plan.
So Stephen, you got your long list written down of what needs to be done next.
You got him a list? Cause,
No, I don't, but I mean, I can.
no, that's okay. Stephen, I would suggest that you bring pen and paper and write down, because I don't know how good your memory is, but we sure have gone over a lot tonight that we're asking from you starting tomorrow. Josh, along the lines of explaining who should be ordering the work, it bothers me, and you tell me if I'm onto something here or if I'm wrong. If Ken Arnold has already begun to work and the PO hasn't even been turned in to our finance department, that's a problem, isn't it?
I think so. I mean, certainly the work needs to be approved and the PO issued before it's done. I don't know where the business timing got off there, but it's under $10,000. You've gotten 3 quotes. That's an item for the committee to vote on, to select generally, and the director, unless you all are just turning the reins loose for the director to go. If you're going to choose between those, that's a committee vote. Before you just go with one of those, unless you all are approving under $10,000 for the director to just do it.
That's what we did. It's already been approved for the 8,000, not to exceed the 8,000.
Right, but they definitely need to have the quote and the PO issued for the work to be done.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the way it's supposed to work.
Yeah, because I, even though it may not be required, I would have liked to have heard more quotes. And I'd like for it to have been brought before the committee and voted on. But do you all see my point though? Like if something goes wrong and this PO doesn't get approved for some reason.
He's gonna stand here with his hand out. I done something.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm talking about. We could owe him money that is not approved because he's already done some work. Y'all understand that?
Certain people, yeah.
Certain people,
I don't think that would happen.
that we can't assume. This is all about legalities. Our job in here is based on the law. So we can't assume anything.
So we need to get POs on these tomorrow, started.
She won't be back till,
Well,
well, you can get them started, yeah. She won't be approved until Wednesday.
Somebody there, Mark.
I had one more thing, if you don't mind. I've got a couple of videos of where people are complaining. I don't know, I understand it's gonna be muddy up there. But there are some people, brought it to my attention at the demolition area where it's, I know it's rained a lot too, and that's not helped. Where it's so muddy though, that the dozer keeps having to, or whatever equipment's having to pull them out. And I'm sure you're quite aware of that. And I know you can't control the rain, because just like it takes out your phone lines, but I'm just saying. Is there anything that can be done to keep their business? Because I have been told now by 3 companies that because of what it does to their vehicles, not only the mud, but the flats, but having to be towed out every time. And that's not good on our equipment either, because we keep having to replace equipment, towing vehicles, so it's not good on it. Is there anything at all we could do to make it a little bit better for them? Gravel, or,
We have, I don't know.
because the video I have, there's absolutely no stone there.
You can't put gravel down, it's just gonna get
I didn't know what you did.
up with mud, and gravel's gonna cost you about $800 a ton. It's a demolition area, you're gonna run your truck up there, there's gonna be busted pallets, busted demolition material, metal strapping. That's just the nature of the beast.
But how do we keep them from getting, is there any?
You can't, any landfill you go to, when you go into a demolition area, that's a risk you
If it was
take.
paved, you'd have somebody complain.
Yeah, that's just, if you don't wanna take the trash there, tell them not to take the trash there, it's a demolition zone.
Well, they're not. They're saying they're gonna go pay to, Johnson City now.
Let them, they're gonna have the same problems in Johnson City, I've been to both places.
Do you have any shale up there that you can get to where you've dug out?
It's some, I mean, it does help.
If you put some shale down, that would be something that won't just sink, but it won't cost you to haul it in either. It'll cost you manpower, but.
I'm just asking because I didn't want to, we talked in the last meeting that, and Deal brought it up that, that's some of our money.
I mean, I'm just saying,
Demolition's a good
I'm just
amount of
saying,
money.
when
We don't wanna
you're
lose.
in a demolition site where they're bringing demolition stuff, that's just the nature of the beast.
I mean,
Like me, when I haul
they-
demolition off, I don't take it to the dump because I'm not driving my truck up there because I know you're gonna get a flat.
Well, they posted a video on Facebook, and it shows the whole issue, how they got stuck, and how they got pulled out. And I just don't want us to lose as much business as we could, since that's a good part of the money, and we need that money in their landfill.
They're gonna run into the same problems at Irish Glen anywhere they go. Wouldn't you agree, Stephen?
Yeah, I mean, definitely, it's just the nature of it. And
It
when it
just,
gets to putting a rock down, then you start running in the area of, rock takes up airspace.
that's what I mean, and then you're gonna cover it right back up.
And it'll be, so you're kind of just dumping money, our money too, when you put rock down, because once you put rock out to drive on, you cover it with trash, then I mean, you can't just push it back up either, because then you'll get demolition or everything else, and there's no way of reusing it once you put it down. So it's just, we try to put a shell down when we can, to try to help people out. The biggest thing that would help out a lot was, I don't mean how it's gonna come out, but the biggest thing is just be patient with us. A lot of people get impatient because have one set place for them to drive. We have put extra effort into to make it solid and drivable even in wet weather, but then a lot of times people get impatient, don't want to wait for somebody to come out. They go off the side of the road and naturally too, where we're at now is a difficult spot because we're kind of in a bowl. The way everything is, so the water runs down, but we try to implement, codes to get people to do it. So a lot of it is just kind of, like I said, people being impatient, wanting to get in and get out, and then it just creates a problem. You get one person that wants to, and another thing with the flats too, a lot of it is when it rains, nobody wants to go in there. Which I can't say that I blame them. It does get muddy, but I mean, if you don't want to deal with mud or getting stuck, don't go to the landfill when it rains. And because I mean, everywhere you go, that's what's going to happen. And but a lot of times, what will happen is somebody will come up and say, "Well, I'm not going in there. I'm going to get stuck." So they'll throw it off in the road. But then the next person comes through has to drive through where they're at. And even though we have good equipment, we have some really good operators, it's impossible to get every nail, screw, anything up. So that's a big problem of it. But we're trying our best to try to help everybody out. It's just the nature of the beast. When it rains, it's going to get nasty and muddy up there. So. We can try to put down more shale as we go to try to help people out, but it's we're kind of limited on that because we're starting to approach our boundary as far as what we can dig out too. So there's only certain spots where it's at, and currently where we're at right now, getting covered dirt is a lot of red clay right now, which is not very good to drive on. So we're doing the absolute best we can, and we do have signs up. I know it doesn't matter, but we do have signs up. So you're at your own risk. You're going to get flat tires. So.
How often do you run the magnet?
We have a magnet that goes on the front of our rubber tire to transfer, and everything will and everything goes good. We run it Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and it goes from the gate to the demolition and back down.
It can't be run every day.
We probably could, but we just kind of pick, as to get the majority of it, because a lot of times the loader driver, he'll come in and we'll try to get him to, I could probably tell him to run it every day, but a lot of times he gets there before I do. And by the time I get there, he's already loading trailers, cleaning up, trying to get everything going before the trucks start rolling in. Because we usually have our first big trucks by 7:15 in the morning. But I guess the stragglers that didn't make it in the day before. So. But I can have him start running it every day.
That's one of the biggest complaints I hear, and I would be so grateful if that could be done and people would have fewer flats.
Is that a long process to do that, or how long does it take to do?
It takes a pretty good process, a while. I'd say, it doesn't really take a long time, I guess, but as long as you don't have any heavy vehicles coming in to dump, you should be all right. But it takes around 30 minutes, a little more, to run that magnet, because you can only run barely off idle, maybe 1-2 miles an hour.
I didn't have any idea how long.
You got to maintain that loader. You got to maintain within a couple inches of the ground. Then, of course, if something happens, you get a hole and it bottoms out, and you got to back up and go over it again and try to pick up if anything is knocked off. So I wish there was a better way to do it, but I can't really think of any other way to really do it more economically. So.
Anything else?
I want to say to Stephen that I just really want to encourage you. This is a real opportunity for you to show your skills. And I want you to take advantage of that. You can be such a help to Ben when he comes back, and you can earn credibility with us and the employees up there, so that when Ben retires, you're an automatic replacement. So, there, as others have mentioned, there is a fine line between, having your employees respect you and having them to take advantage of you. But you've got to be tough enough to where they do see you as the leader, and they know that they've got to do what you say. And just little things like, did you hear earlier in the meeting when Shannon mentioned that Roger has a locked key box inside the office? If the landfill doesn't have one of those, let that be one of the changes that you make. Anything you see, I want you to feel liberty and control. And when you see changes that need to be made, improvements that can be done, do it over this next month. Don't be afraid to do that.
One thing I wanted to ask you to do, if you don't care, I talked to Chad and it had been voted on for you all to bring the deposit to him the day of. Once you get that truck, be able to come down here, gas and all that, try to get the deposit here every day. I mean, the day of. I don't feel comfortable. The day we were up there, it's $5,600 a day. And it's laying in that safe all night. I mean, we've already been hit once. That building, you kick a door in pretty easy, so I think we need to, I mean, I know it's in a safe, but that's still, I think we need to get it to the courthouse the day of. I mean, they close at 4:30. You can leave up there at 4 o'clock, bring it down here and be back time to go on to school.
I mean, I'm just gonna pass by here, so you take it on the way home.
Even if they should, say 4:45 and do what they've got.
Right.
I
mean,
30, 45 minutes there, $15, $20 comes in, you could stay.
We should only leave $5,000 or $6,000 laying up.
Yeah.
One thing, we need to make sure that the motion about the salary increase is sent to, remember I said I would send it to about 5 people, budget, Carolyn, who else did I say? Chairperson of the budget committee. That needs to be sent on so it can be put on budget's agenda. We don't want to wait another month or whatever.
Anything else? Call for adjournment.
Motion adjourned.
Second.
All in favor? Oh, no, I'm low chair.
I keep looking for those.
How are you?
I think.
Everything